morning. Happy New Year. Welcome to the Pitch Rock Chronicles, where fans become family. I'm Uncle Tatch. I'm here with Rob and Donald. And we are gearing up with a roster where 2025 can be the year that the Yankees really start to look fundamentally better. As we've stated in the past few shows, it seems that the direction of the offseason has been to kind of secure up the defense. And while some questions are going to be asked if it's enough on the offensive side, if you're able to prevent runs from scoring, the offense will find its way at some point with some of these bats because we do have the bats in the lineup. So, Donald, Rob, how are we feeling going into 2025 with these New York Yankees?
Rob?
I feel good. I feel good about this team. I think that they're going to be a lot better than some people might think. I don't think we're done. I think one more bat and I'll feel a lot better about this lineup. Right now, my biggest issue is we don't really have a third or second baseman, depending on where Jazz Chisholm plays. And I think make one move and this lineup looks a lot better. Right now, it's a lineup that, as Donald's brought up multiple times, lacks on base, but it can provide a lot of pop. Despite, even with Goldschmidt, he can hit 20 home runs. Bellinger's lefty swing. You got Judge, you got Stanton. A full year of Jazz Chisholm. Austin Wells is certainly a 20 home run type of guy. I feel like there's some pop here, but we're lacking, I think, one more big bat that can really round out this lineup. And if we can get that big bat, I think this is going to be a team that should be feared. I think they've done a phenomenal job, and I'm really excited about what's coming in 2025. I think it's going to be a big year.
Donald, how you feel about it?
I'm excited about our pitching rotation. I think that's the big takeaway.
Yeah.
Our pitching rotation is absolutely insane. Max Fried's one of the best pitchers in baseball. Garrett Cole, when he's the ace level, Garrett Cole is the best pitcher in baseball. Then you go Rodon, who's a fourth starter. You could do a lot worse as a fourth starter. Go Luis Gil, the reigning rookie of the year. And you go Clark Schmidt, and hey, maybe even someone else. So you never know. Maybe Sasaki comes along. Don't think so, but we're still in the race. So very excited about our pitching rotation. Our bullpen, I'm excited about our bullpen. We just need one more lefty reliever, either Tim Hill or Andrew Chafin would be great. But our bullpen is pretty much set. You got Cousins. Everyone forgets about Cousins, but that dude's slider is absolutely insane. And then you pair that with Weaver, and then you pair that with Williams, best closer in baseball at times last year. He was excellent last year. He had a 1 ERA. Now, he did give up a killer home run against the Mets, but by and large, he had a very, very good year. I don't know how he's going to play in the American League. But I still think that he's going to be very, very good. So I'm pretty happy with what we have about our bullpen. So yeah, our pitching's excellent. Now we look at our lineup. You break down our lineup. I still think we're a little short of on base percentage. And I felt that all off season, we really need to start looking at having someone that can set the table for Aaron Judge. I'm a little worried about protection for Judge. That's something I am quite concerned about. So we are a bat short. Anyone who says we're not a bat short isn't paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
We need another bat. You can't go into 2025 with DJ LeMahieu. That ship has sailed. It's done. It's toast. It's finished. End that conversation right now. If the Yankee front office is planning that, forget that plan. Get rid of that plan. Find a new plan. That cannot happen. Not for the 2025 New York Yankees. You've already got one 37-year-old. You can't have another DJ LeMahieu in there. You can't have another mid-30s corner infielder. That's a terrible idea. So they really need to start being aggressive and to look for another bat here because, I think our best clutch hitter is Stanton, but Stanton doesn't play all year. So, your big focus with Stanton is as long as he's healthy going into October. So if you take, say, like last year, he missed a month of the year. you took him out the lineup, and the Yankees looked kind of bad, and that was with Juan Soto. So now that there's no Soto, if you take Stanton out the lineup for say a month, if he needs to sit out his hamstring or whatever, who's coming in to protect Aaron Judge? So then I'd be very worried about teams pitching around Aaron Judge, and then that will be a concern. So we do need another bat. That is something the Yankees need to focus on. But you look at our lineup, and it is actually fairly strong in the bottom end. You got the Martian. He's gonna have a good year this year. I feel pretty good about the Martian. I think the Yankees are gonna be all in on him. The trust will be up on Martian, and I think he's gonna be absolutely fine. He could give you 20 home run pop, and then you got Goldschmidt there, and you got some offense, and I think it'll be okay. We just need another bat, either at the top or in the middle, to protect Aaron Judge, and I think we'll be pretty good. But let's focus on OBP, guys. We need an on-base percentage sitting around 400. We need someone that can do that. Even 380, 390, I'll be okay with, but we need another on-base percentage bat.
Yeah, I think that's going to be addressed after Sasaki. I think baseball is just on hold right now because I don't think there's going to be any free agents coming off the market until they figure out if they, with the stupid qualifying offer. They're going to want to, they're not going to risk any of their international money until this deal is done. But as far as the lineup, I think you're right. I think there's still a little bit of a hole in there because we don't know who's be playing second or third. I threw together a quick batting order of what the lineup could be.
Oh, let's go.
All right. So I wrote Jazz leading off, playing third or second because we don't know where he's going to end up. So I have Jazz as my leadoff guy. Then I have Bellinger, Judge, Wells, Stanton, Goldschmidt, Volpe, Dominguez, and then let's say Peraza. Because right now he is penciled in for the opening day. So that's still a fairly deep lineup, but there's still I don't know if it's I think it could be a successful lineup. I don't think it's a lineup that's going to really kick doors down offensively.
I think Jazz, he's either going to be batting like fifth or first, right? His skill set is a leadoff guy because he can steal bases and he's very fast, but he's got 30 home run potential with that swing of his in Yankee Stadium. Mm-hmm. That's a middle of the bat order, middle of the bat guy, middle of the order bat. Jesus Christ, I can't speak. It's 2025.
That's my role you're taking.
We're switching roles in the new year. But he's a guy you want in the middle of the order. I think my fear is they're going to lead off DJ if he has a semi-good spring, if they don't add a bat. That's my fear. I don't want it to happen, so do not quote me saying, Rob thinks they're going to go and keep DJ LeMahieu as a third baseman. No, I just fear that that's what's going to happen. I don't want that to be the case, but I don't see any other options for leadoff because I don't want Volpe there because he's not ready for that yet. He's so good in the bottom of the order. He's better in the bottom of the order than he is at the top. Mm-hmm. So I want to keep him there to set the table for like that second leadoff hitter. So I like your order, but I would probably put Stanton cleanup because you don't want to lump the lefties together too much because you got Jazz, Bellinger, and Wells in your top four, and then you have like one lefty the rest of the way. Okay. So ideally, they would get another lefty bat to play the infield, and then you can go that route because you wouldn't lump all the lefties together. But that might be the way you go. Even if you do add another infielder that bats from the right side, I would just switch Stanton and Wells, or maybe even put Judge second again and have Bellinger behind him. So you go left, right, left, because they like to do that a lot. But I do like that lineup. That might be your best lineup you can put out right now based off of who we have. Just a couple of tweaks is what I would do, but I like that. I like the direction you're going.
Well, I completely agree with that. I don't want Volpe leading off. We already saw, what that did. I actually messed up with his swing. He was doing perfect at the bottom of the order to start the year. Once we started messing with him at the top, I think that was when things started to go awry with him. We still haven't seen if he's a league average bat yet. We've seen evidence that at times, yeah, at times, no. So we need a little bit more consistency from Anthony Volpe, and I think the best way to do that is to have him in the bottom of the order. He certainly looked a better version of himself in the postseason, and that's a good sign for Yankee fans. We need postseason Anthony Volpe to be real, and that wasn't just an anomaly. So that's something there. I want to pick up on John the Beagle Dad saying here that Dominguez doesn't hit. He hits. He can hit. It's just a matter of, can he stay healthy, and can he improve his defense in left field? That's really going to be the key for Jason Dominguez. And will the Yankees give him the rope to learn the pitching in the big league level, because there is a big jump. But you can't say he doesn't hit, because in his minor league career, I mean, you're talking about a guy that's hit 47 home runs and almost 200 RBIs with an 880 OPS in the minor league level. I mean, that's very good. And then even when he was up in the bigs in 2023 before he got hurt, he had 4 home runs and 7 RBIs and an OPS over 900. That's the kind of numbers that you dream of. Whether you're into the stats or not, I mean, those are good numbers. So it's just a case of, can the Yankees show him the same amount of trust as they've shown Anthony Volpe? Because they haven't done that with every prospect. No. Anthony Volpe seems to be different than everybody else, because the Yankees have given him an unending leash to be really bad and then to be okay and pretty good at various times. So they've given him that leash. Now they have to go and show that same leash to Simon Dominguez before we know anything about Dominguez. But Dominguez is by far a better prospect than Anthony Volpe coming up. Making no mistake about that. That is a fact. So I do believe that Dominguez is going to be a better player. Just got to show him some faith. So that's going to be my big takeaway. Can he stay healthy? And can he play left field? Because I'm not convinced he can play left field at Yankee Stadium yet. I'm really not convinced about that, but I hope he can.
I'd put him in center on it. I think Bellinger can handle left.
Yeah.
But Bellinger's so good in center that, like, if you want your best defense, Bellinger being the man out in center can help Dominguez out. But Dominguez is good in center, and Bellinger can probably play a good left field. I'd be a lot more comfortable with Belly out there in left. So I'm very excited to see how the Yankees approach this, because if Dominguez is putting in the work like Susan Waldman said he was, and he can come out in the spring and just, because the good thing is our spring training stadium, Steinbrenner Field, is the same dimension. So
okay,
if he can learn it out there, but it's a lot different in game in the majors. Of course, everything's weird, especially when you go from spring training to the regular season. But I'm hoping that he can play a good left field. But I also don't want to give up on him in center. But maybe the Yankees are planning on Jones being that guy in center field for the long haul, because they don't seem to want to give up on him, nor really should they, because he's an exciting prospect. So maybe they're thinking, let's have a really good center fielder out there in Bellinger. He can help Dominguez out. And let's just see if Dominguez, he's only 21. He's got plenty of time. He can he's a lot more athletic than people give him credit for. Mm-hmm. I know he's a smaller, but he's a muscular dude, but he can run. I think he can handle left field. So I'm excited for Dominguez. We should be excited for Dominguez. You're absolutely right. They need to give him the same leash they gave Volpe. I don't know why they only did it for him and not every other prospect. They should have done it for Wells. They finally did it for Wells in the second half. Should have done it for Peraza. They should have done it for Florial, let's be honest, a couple of years ago. So I'm excited for Dominguez. I don't think there's a lot of pressure on him, because he'll be in the bottom of the order, switch hitter, just hit some home runs, get on base at a good clip. We don't need him to be Mickey Mantle. Those comparisons were stupid from day one. We don't need him to be Bernie Williams. If he was Bernie Williams, I'd jump for joy. That'd be fantastic. But just need him to be solid. We need him to be a solid bat. We need Volpe to be a solid bat, and this lineup would be a lot better. And he missed time with the injury, and there was the COVID year, like Graham's bringing up. The COVID year held back a lot of minor leaguers, but that injury slowed him down. I was actually thinking the other day, if he never got hurt in 2023, would they ever have traded for Juan Soto? I was really thinking about that because they might not have made that move because Dominguez was playing so freaking well before he got hurt. I wonder what the domino effect of that injury was. What was getting Soto and Verdugo, but I wonder what their approach would have been. That's how well he was playing. Like, people were going to the stadium to watch Dominguez. That's how exciting he was in just a week of play. So I'm very excited for him, and I think he's going to have a good year.
And to answer Jared's point, no, we're talking about the fact that minor leaguers had to sit out a year because the minor league system wasn't operating during the COVID year. I don't know about his illness history, Jared. So I'm sorry, bro, but about the minor league in general. So yeah, it is a factor. But yeah, let's not forget his age. He's young. He can afford to be, I mean, league average for the next couple of years, and he's still very much on the path because he's so young and he's going to take time to develop. So let's see how he does. I just hope that the Yankees give him some faith and some support. What I like about Dominguez is he's a hard worker. So he's working incredibly hard this offseason. He's not taking anything personally. I mean, that was one of the issues that we had with Gleyber Torres. Gleyber Torres needed everything to be absolutely kind of perfect for him to perform at a good level, or he kind of starts to lose it a little bit. I don't get that same sense for Dominguez. He's not blaming anybody else. He's like, I need to be better, and he's worked incredibly hard in left field. So I think that's a good sign. I think he's a hard worker, and that'll help him develop quicker. But the best thing to do is don't have him lead off. He might have the capability of leading off in the future, but right now I don't want him leading off. I want him in the bottom of the order, along with Volpe. The Yankees really do need another bat near the top of the order to take some pressure off these young guys who are going to be there and thereabouts, but they need time as well. Take that little pressure off them.
And if you think about like who that bat could be, because ideally we would just go sign Bregman, and then we wouldn't be needing to have any more conversations. The lineup would be set. But if anyone listened to Joel Sherman's podcast that Donald sent me the other day, it was really good because he brought up a lot of good points that they're probably not going to get Bregman. They're probably not going to get Arenado, which I'm perfectly fine with that. But if that's the case, it really does limit who's out there, because there's not a lot of good choices out there. I don't know if Brandon Lau's available, and if he is, you're going to have to give up a lot to get him because he's a very good bat. I don't know if Bohm, I would love to get him. I don't know if Alec Bohm's available, but you'd have to pay a lot to go get that guy because he's a good player. So you're looking at kind of that B and C tier of infield free agents, and Brendan Rodgers comes to mind, Josh Rojas comes to mind. Those aren't world beaters. Those aren't guys that move the needle, but one thing both of those players they're better than DJ LeMahieu. So if you go that route, your lineup will be better on paper. But I'm thinking like right now, I don't want to see DJ getting a starting job at all. He's not going to go anywhere. And look, before I go on another DJ rant, I just want to say I think it's a damn shame what's happened to him because injuries have derailed him. He was one of the best hitters in baseball for even more than 2 years. But with us, he was one of the best hitters in the sport, and he kept hurting the same freaking foot. How unlucky can you be? I looked at his injury history. He hit that foot like 4 times in 1 year, and then he hit it. It hurt again last year. Remember how good he looked? Like, oh, he looks great in practice, and then he got hurt again, and they're like, oh, he's going to be ready for opening day. That turned into like a month and a half or 2 months on the IL. I'm sorry, the guy is not reliable at this point, and it's a damn shame because if you can like go into the future and tell me the Yankees are going to get 2023 Goldschmidt and they're going to get second half 2023 LeMahieu for a full year, you'd sign up for that. DJ was an 800 OPS player the second half of that season, and Goldschmidt was an 800 OPS player in 23. And I would take 23 Bellinger as well. I wish we can say that was going to be the case, but that's asking so much. So you have to upgrade wherever you play Jazz. If he's playing third, go get a second baseman. I've said this countless times. I wish people would listen to that before putting words in my mouth, but just they have to upgrade one of those positions. And
Bro,
if they
could
do
you
that,
imagine if this was a 2023 team? If this same lineup was in 2023, oh
we'd
my
be the
God,
best team in baseball.
we'd probably win 140 games.
Yeah,
Aaron Judge hitting 62, you get Stanton hitting 40, got Goldschmidt winning the MVP, freaking Bellinger hitting like 35 home. Oh my God, that team would be
Oh,
ridiculous.
what a country that was.
Oh man, that would be fun.
let's rewind the clocks.
Unfortunately, can we rewind back the clocks, please? Unfortunately, it's 2025 and it's 2 years older, and we don't know what we're going to get from half of this lineup. We really don't. We're using projections and hope that Goldschmidt's swing will translate in the Yankee Stadium in order to get something more out of him. You're hoping that same case will be for Bellinger. You're hoping that someone's actually going to throw some pitches to Aaron Judge, because at the moment, why would you? Let's be honest. So there's a lot of hope. I'm excited. I'm cautiously optimistic, but I would be a lot more confident if we added another bat. But I mean, I do echo Rob's sentiments, man. I mean, I've been DJ's biggest fan for a long time, and I think my worst take on this channel was that DJ was going to have a good year last year. I blew up in my face. I thought he was going to be good because I was reading all the teammates were saying he's having a great spring. He looks unbelievable. So I bought into that shit. No, he didn't.
Not this year, though, right?
Not even close.
Yeah, no, look, it is a shame with DJ. I mean, the guy won, a batting title in both leagues. This is, not somebody that comes around too often in baseball. Where you really, like, when he first got here, the first, the first contract we had him under, we were comparing him to utility guys that we've never seen before. So we thought he was the premier utility player, and he still can be, but not to the level that we had before. And it really sucks with the injuries. So no, he cannot be a cornerstone of your lineup and your defense game in and game out. They have to pivot to something else. You don't want to eat the money. You think that he can still give you something, an inning or two, a spot start for first base to get Goldie off his feet. I can live with that if he's healthy. But he's not a player that's on this roster that you can pencil in, game out. They have to use him just slightly different than what they wanted to.
As a bench player.
Exactly.
Expensive bench player.
He went from an everyday utility guy to a very sound bench piece that can be used when he's healthy.
Right.
If he was hitting, I would say I would agree with that. But the dude was hitting at 200 last year. His weighted runs created plus was 56. He's terrible. I would agree with that completely if his average was 240 or something. He was at least productive, but he's not productive. All he did was ground into double plays. What's up, NFE? Happy New Year. He did nothing. He had one good game, I think, against the Phillies. He had a 6 RBI game. Outside of that, he was horrific. His defense wasn't that good. We don't even need to speak about his offense. And it's a damn shame what happened. So I wish he was better, obviously, because then we wouldn't need to have this conversation. If he never had those injuries, he'd probably still be a 280 type of hitter. And you'd be all right, well, there's your leadoff hitter. And we wouldn't need to be Brandon Lau, Alec Boehm, Alex Bregman. We wouldn't need to be talking about that. But the fact of the matter is he cannot be relied on. If he comes into spring healthy and looks good, great. Then you have a guy that can play multiple positions in the infield. He can play all 3 positions pretty well, third, second, and first. And in a pinch, you can pencil him in to play first and DH Goldschmidt or give Goldschmidt a day off. You want to give Jazz a day off. We know they like to do that. You want to give whoever the hell the second baseman is a day off. You can do those things. You can even DH DJ if he's hitting well. So he needs to hit first. He needs to prove to everybody that he is healthy. And that foot is good, because if that foot's still lingering from the last 3 years now, then he's nothing. Yeah, and it's hard to hit. if you keep injuring the same part of your body, no matter what job you do, it's going to be difficult. If you're packing stuff in a warehouse and you hurt your oblique or something, guess what? If you hurt it again the next year, it's going to be difficult to lift stuff. If you hurt your arm, it's like this is a damn shame. It's like someone had a voodoo doll and they kept poking him in the fucking foot because it was the same foot. How does this keep happening? I feel terrible for him, but the Yankees have got to go in another direction. He cannot be the answer as a starter. Bench piece, fine, because they're not going to cut him, but at least, well, they should, but they're not going to. Go get another bat, and he'll be on the bench, an expensive bench piece, but that's the way they have to go.
No, yeah, you're totally right. Another way we have to go is we have to say hello to the chat. It's New Year's. We've got almost 50 people sitting in the chat, and we haven't said hello to you guys yet. What are we doing here? So let's say hello to the chat. We got a late arrival, but a very, very good arrival, and that is my man NFE. Everybody check out his channel. NFE's killing it. Happy New Year's to NFE. We got Graham Highlander. What has Graham Highlander got to say? Volpe might need a day off now and again just to let him reset as such. This is the year we should know what Volpe actually is. That's right. This is a big year coming up for Anthony Volpe. He needs to be a league average bat, and he needs to continue to be a very good shortstop at a high level. We need that from him this year. If he continues to go in these 3-4 month slumps, then we have a conversation and a half. So let's hope that doesn't happen. We got Gregory Wayne in the chat. We got Brad, all from the land down under. Happy New Year, Brad. I don't even know if you guys are actually at the New Year bit. I don't know about the time difference. It's crazy over there. So let me know what time it is over there. But Happy New Year's anyway. We got Acevedo. Happy New Year's. Who else we got? We got Lynch. Dave. We got Def Finch, of course. Salute to you. We got Jared. We got Stetson. Good to see Stetson in the chat. We got Lynn. Now, everybody, you guys got to check out Lynn's channel on Sunday. Lynn kills it on Sunday with Sierra. We got Gregory Wayne, got John the Beagle Dad, we got Medina. Good morning and Happy New Year to Medina. How are you? Thank you so much for your continued support, Mike. Really do appreciate it. We've got the whole crew. We got Jonathan in there, nice and early. He's always the guy that comes in first. In fact, look at the time, 7:42 a.m. Jonathan. Oh my God, Jonathan, you are committed. I love that.
Jonathan's an early riser.
You want to make sure that you're there, that you're all set up to watch the Pinstripe Chronicles. You are the GOAT, Jonathan. Salute to you, man. And salute to everyone that's joined the chat this morning. I hope you guys have had a really good New Year's with your families, and it's going to be a safe and happy New Year. Salute to JT. I can see he's a member, so that's awesome. Thank you so much. And as I say, really means the world to us that you guys want to spend your New Year's Day with us on the Pinstripe Chronicles. So, first things first, before we pass it back to Rob and Tats, hit that like button, hit that sub button, and become a member, because we got some exciting things coming up. We got giveaways. There's a new podcast coming to you guys on Saturday, so there's a whole bunch of reasons for you to check out the Pinstripe Chronicles and continue to grow this family where fans become family. Tats.
Yeah, no, I want again thank everybody for spending their New Year's morning with us. I know it's early for a lot of people, maybe late for a lot of people, but we were not going to want to start the year any other way than hanging out with you guys. So we appreciate you guys hanging out with us as well.
Where are you, Graham? It's bloody snowing here and howling a gale. I want to know where Graham Highlander is.
Yeah, I'm going to stay away from where Graham
I would take where Graham is right now. It's hot as a motherfucker out in Florida. I think with
fucking Orkney. Holy shit, bro. The Orkney Isles. That's cool, bro.
That is cool. See, we got them from all over the place.
We got them all over the globe.
Yep. We are an international podcast.
We are. That is awesome.
No, I know there's a lot of concerns with Volpe. I think he's going to be just fine. I like that they're giving him a leash. I think they need to do the same thing with Dominguez to rewind a little bit, and just really let him go. I think what we saw when he first got called up in that Astro series, I think that's him. I think last year I'm gonna choose to just ignore that game that they brought him up as the extra man. They never used him, and everyone's like, well, that's because he can't play. And everybody saw that as a negative. Meanwhile, it was just poor management. Has nothing to do with the reflection of his ability. So I think this year is going to be an insane year for Dominguez. And it's also the youth on the team. He's 20, 21 years old. I mean, tell me somebody else that had it all figured out at that age, and I'll call you a liar. It takes time to develop some of these guys.
I know one that had it figured out at that point.
Well,
he was a Yankee. He was a Yankee last year, so maybe two, because you can probably put Harper in that category. Soto, Harper, Trout, but it's a handful, and you're talking about some of the very best to ever do it. Yeah, you're putting that's you're going into like a rarefied air of like the elite hitters in baseball. So yeah, Dominguez, anyone expecting him to be the best player in baseball in year one, you gotta, as Lynn always says, manage your expectations. Please be patient with these kids. That's why I said I was saying it multiple times last year. You got to be patient with Volpe. I know we want instant gratification, but sometimes you got to wait a few years. Sometimes it takes 3 years to learn what a player is going to be, especially in baseball, because you can have one great season followed by 2 bad years, or 2 bad years followed by 1 great year. Julio Rodriguez is a case in point. He started off red hot, good second year, struggled last season.
That's a good point.
So you never know. Like you really have
Gunnar
to be.
Henderson.
Gunnar Henderson, he's been great really ever since he came up. But like, look at Jackson Holiday. Came up, didn't really live up to the hype. Not yet, but again, 1 year. We're not going to call him a bust. So you got to be patient. This year is going to be very important. As said earlier in the chat, Donald said it as well. It's going to be very important for Anthony Volpe. So I will use that same logic for Jason Dominguez. Anyone expecting him to come out there and he's got to hit 30 and be an 800 OPS player in order for me to think he's not a bust, I'm sorry. You're expecting way too much of these prospects, and you're setting them up for failure before they even step on the field.
Yeah, I you know who I think is really going to have a big spotlight on them this season, and that is going to be Oswaldo Cabrera. I think he's going to be our key bench player, utility guy. He's going to take the crown from LeMahieu. He's going to be playing all over, and really, if you're really seriously in a pinch, you can always put him in left. Really, not something I would champion for, but if it really came down to it, I wouldn't, break my TV over it. But I think Cabrera is going to be an integral part of the success of this team. How are you guys feeling about Cabrera? Since I think they're really set on not having him in a set position. I think they've acknowledged that that's where his value is to kind of move him around.
Oh man, he's never really. I mean, outside of 2022. His numbers have never really been like, that guy's got to start. But from the lefts, if they made him exclusively a lefty, I would probably consider him starting at third base. That dude can hit from the left side of the plate. When he's a righty, I don't like him. But as a lefty, I love him. But I think he's so valuable because right now he's your backup shortstop unless Peraza makes the team. You don't have a backup shortstop. So you kind of need him to be the utility guy. That's why ever since 2 years ago, I've been saying I don't want to lock this guy into one position. He can play the outfield, he can play first, second, third, short. You kind of need that. So he should play, but a different position every single day, most likely. He's what they're hoping is he'll be the Ben Zobrist of this team, which is a perfect role to have. I don't want to lock him into one position. I wish he was like a Gold Glover at third, and you'd be like, all right, just bat him from the left side, and there's your third baseman. But he's too good of a he's a good defender almost everywhere he plays.
Yeah.
Probably his weakest position is the outfield because he doesn't need to be out there, but you can put him out there in an emergency. I just don't want to lock him into one position.
Yeah, I'm not that high. I think Oswaldo's fine as he is. I think he's a bench player. I think he's someone that you come in and can provide you some quality at bats, maybe once a week, twice a week, something like that. I just don't think he's an everyday player. I don't like him at second base at all. I think he's a terrible second baseman. I don't understand why the Yankees even try him at second base. I don't like him at second. I much prefer him at third. He's actually pretty good at third, but I wouldn't have him on an everyday basis there by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think he's got the bat for it. But he's a good player. Don't get me wrong. I think he's useful. But I think his best role is as is. And yeah, I was back to back Gunnar Henderson. Actually, I think I was just thinking about the fact that he was so bad in September. He didn't hit any home runs for like last 3 weeks of the year. But in general, his numbers were ridiculous. So that was not the best comparison. But Jackson Hollidy's definitely a better example there, and Rodriguez for sure. Whatever happened to him? And Robert as well. He had a bad year.
He started off hot, and he got hurt a lot. That was his problem. He's been constantly hurt, which is why I don't know why people are so like, go get Luis Robert. Like, I know he's an exciting player, but I never thought he should have. Yeah, I thought,
me at all.
Right. If he was never getting hurt and he was hitting the crap out of the ball, I would be like, yeah, go get him over Bellinger. But I think he's an exciting player, but it's a lot of risk for the guy because we always get mad when they keep adding players that get hurt all the time. I know he's a young guy, but you'd be getting angry at Cashman for how do you get another injured player?
He did fall off a cliff last year. He really did.
Yeah. He struggled, but he's also still very good. That you're not going to be like one bad year, you're giving up on the player. That's why I always say for rookies, you got to give them at least 3 years before you really know the full story.
Yeah, you can't. It's like Donald pointed out in correcting my statement. Was there's only a handful of guys that come up and it clicks right away, and it's although it seems like there's one player every year that comes up and it just fits in seamlessly, but look at their numbers year 2, year 3. There's always going to be a drop off because they figure you out. Pitches are it's a constant game of adjustments, and some players it takes a little while to readjust to what they're doing. I think you're going to see a better year from Volpe because of that. I think Volpe is now learning how to study the game as well as play it. Because we saw in the postseason, he was starting to make some in-bat adjustments. He's tweaking his stance a little bit and understanding what the pitch, starting to understand what pitchers were trying to do to him. And so if he's able to carry that through a really solid spring training, like we saw when we were wondering if it was going to be him or Peraza. If we can get that Volpe back where he was very patient, calculated, they let him use his legs. I think that was a big part of it, of why his value kind of dropped overall. Is he has a guy that can steal second and third, and they don't let him run. They made the mistake. I championed for it, and I was proven wrong. I wanted him the leadoff spot. It didn't work. But when it got to the point where, okay, the experiment was over, you got to pull the plug on it. And they put him back near the bottom of the order. It was working for him for a little while, and then just nothing ever seemed to click. I think what they need to do is really stick to a consistent spot. Bat him ninth if you have to, and have him as your second leadoff guy as the lineup turns over.
They put him in the leadoff spot too quickly, and they waited too long to take him out of the leadoff spot. I didn't want him there to begin with. I remember saying, I don't want to move him. He was hitting so well. I said it in the spring. If he clicks at the beginning of the season, hitting at the bottom of the order, don't change it. Keep him there. That's where he's going to be which where he should be for at least the first half. At least wait before you make a decision like that. And they did it, and it worked out for a little while, but then he got cold. And he stayed cold, and they kept him there. And it was like they did that the year before. Did they not learn their lesson? That's like my biggest issue with the Yankees is they keep reverting back to things that didn't work, and they go, it'll work this time, and it doesn't. It never works, and they never learn their lesson from previous years. But I still think he's a guy that can be at least a league average bat with a great glove, and that's fine. You're going to, again, not every prospect, especially the ones at the top of the list, are going to hit. I'm sorry. I know that sucks. We want every one of our top guys to be the part of the next core, but who's to say he can't? If he's like a 260 type of hitter, he can hit you 20 home runs, steal a bunch of bases. He just needs to get on base more and cut down on the strikeouts, which he did cut down the strikeouts last year, but his power was zapped. So he's got to find the middle ground between 2022 and 23, and I think you're looking at a pretty solid bat, maybe league average, hopefully slightly above that, or even well above that, and a plus glove at short. He's a great shortstop. I know his arm lacks some stuff there. He needs some arm strength. He needs to add some arm strength there, but he's got great range, makes some good plays, has some mental issues, but was up for a Gold Glove again this year. I mean, you've got yourself a really good defensive shortstop. You just need him to be a league average bat at best, and you've got yourself a really good player. We just need him to take that next step.
Unfortunately, in 2024, he was a long way from being a league average bat. So if you look at his on base percentage, he wasn't even on base 30% of the time. It was 29% of the time he was on base. I mean, that's completely unacceptable. You can't have that leading off. His slug was in the mid 350s. His OPS was 650. The average should be, I think the league average is about 730. And the OPS plus was 86. It needs to be in the hundreds. So the problem with Anthony Volpe is he goes through these sustained slumps, and he's not a good enough hitter to learn how to get himself out of these slumps, because I think he had about a 3-month slump last year. After he was moved into the leadoff and then he was moved down again, it was like he had like a 3-month slump, and that's far too long. And it actually is very similar to 2023. And it took Austin Wells having that infamous chicken parm dinner for Austin Wells to be like, right, this is the hitch in your swing. This is the problem. The fact that the Yankees didn't pick up on that is a concern. We're talking about management and coaching again, and Mike Fishman, the enemy of the Yankees. But you're looking at that as a big miss there. The fact that you need Austin Wells to talk to him about it. And again, last year it took about 3 months. I mean, yeah, he came around in October and that was good, but he's not a good enough hitter to be this cold for this long. He's not going to give you that kind of 25, 30 home run power. He just doesn't have it, in my opinion, consistently. So, he had 12 last year. I think there's room for improvement there. I think he could climb into the 18, 19 range. But really what he needs to focus is on his OBP. 293. His career is 288. I mean, that is far too low. And that's the kind of bat we're projecting him to be. He's supposed to be a table setter. And if your on base percentage is like 28%, that is freaking awful. Let's just call a spade a spade. That's freaking awful. He needs to be better. Need him to be better. So this is a big year coming up for him. Big year. But that's the thing. Because the Yankees didn't add this big principal bat, there's going to be added pressure now on guys like Volpe and Wells that they need to take that next step in order to make up for the loss of the offense that we lost with Soto and Torres.
That's a lot of offense to have to replace too.
Yeah.
That's it's so difficult to be like, how do you replace 400 on base, 1,000 slugging, basically a 300 hitter, 40 homers, 100 ribbies? How do you replace that? You can't. You can't. You just got to hope that Bellinger can be more like 2023. You've got yourself a really big lefty bat. You got to hope that Goldschmidt's second half of last year wasn't an anomaly and he can hit like that again for a full season, which would be great. And you got to hope that these young guys take that step forward. Austin Wells has to be really good this year. Volpe has to be a lot better. Dominguez, he gets a little more leeway because it's being his rookie season, but you need Jazz to be productive. You need Judge. Oh, Judge is going to be Judge. Let's see what Graham's saying. He needs to figure out who he is. He isn't the dinger hitter, but he can't get. Yeah, you got to and play Yankees. That kind of goes with the title. A renewed goal. Here's a goal. New Year's resolution for the Yankees: use the speed because you're going to have it. Bellinger, Dominguez.
That's a great
Volpe,
idea.
Jazz, potentially Peraza. You're going to have 5 guys that can run the bases very well if Peraza does in fact get the job. Even Austin Wells can run pretty well. He runs well. Aaron Judge he's not a slow poke out there. It's really Goldschmidt, who actually is a pretty solid base runner. You're going to have a really good base running team this year. Please use it. And that goes to what I was saying earlier. They can create offense in different ways. I said this weeks ago when Soto signed. You're going to have to look for different ways to create offense because you're not going to replace Soto's bat with nobody. Nobody in baseball besides maybe Ohtani is going to, or maybe a Vlad, and we're not getting those guys, are going to replace Soto's bat. So you got to look for other ways to get on to get runs across, and that's using the speed, especially if Peraza gets the starting job. He is a lot faster than people might even think because we don't see him enough. They're going to have a ton of speed in this lineup. Use it. Use those hit and runs. Create havoc on the base pads the way the Red Sox did to us. Do that to every other team because then you're going to have to pitch to Aaron Judge because they're going to be so worried about who's running and who's dancing on first. They might make a mistake to Judge. And Judge is going to crack one 470 feet over the wall. So, yes, use the speed. New Year's resolutions. Here we go. What are your resolutions for the Yankees? Mine,
great
use
idea,
speed.
Rob. You've got it. Right. This is how we're gonna finish off the show. We're gonna do New Year's resolutions for each Yankee. So everyone in the chat, get your ideas in, and we're gonna have our New Year's resolutions for the lineup. So that's it. That's Rob's great idea. I think it's an awesome idea. New Year's resolutions. Right. New Year's resolutions for Anthony Volpe is get on base in order to use that speed. That is definitely my New Year's resolution. You need to get your OP, you need to get your own base percentage up from 28%. You need to be in the mid 300s in order for you to get on base and steal some freaking bases because that's what you're good at. Don't focus on hitting home runs. That's not your bag. Sorry, bro. You ain't that guy. So get on base, steal some bases. That's what we need from you. And strengthen that arm a little bit. Hit the weights. Hit the weights and try and improve that arm just a little bit. Because we can't have these balls bouncing 3 times before it reaches first base. So let's try and up that up a little bit. But by and large, get on base. That's my New Year's resolution for Anthony Volpe. Uncle Tats, what's your on base? What's your resolution for Anthony Volpe?
Utilize his speed. I think, he's going to end up on base because we could say the same thing. I could say, get on base more, but to piggyback what you were saying and add to it, look, if you're going to work on getting on base, you also have to work on your base running and your base stealing because he can be one of those guys that is just constantly distracting the pitcher. We saw the effect of his base running and the distraction that he causes. And it's also on top of, and this is going to really fall on. I can't wait till we get to Boone. But
right.
I think Volpe really just needs to work. There's one thing he increases. It's got to be his steals.
Right. Now, let's, Rob, what's your next New Year's resolution?
For Volpe or just for the next player?
No, in general. Let's move him on through the lineup.
All right. I want Aaron Judge to be angry. You see his Instagram post, a lot of people are bringing that up. Not a single photo of Juan Soto breaking down the 2024 season. And people are using that as oh, see, he never wanted him here. That's why he never called him. He's mad. I really think he's mad about what happened. And I want the captain to be the captain, especially in the month of October. I want to see an angry Aaron Judge, and I want him to wreak havoc on baseball once again. And I want him to do it in the most important times, that is the playoffs. And I want him to shut everybody up. I want the captain to be the captain. He's got to be the leader of this team. If he's not, or if he's on the shelf for a little while, good luck winning a lot of games. We need Aaron Judge to. So my resolution: shut everybody the fuck up. He was the butt of everyone's jokes last night. If you play this inning at this time, Aaron Judge will drop the ball at midnight. Go fuck yourself. Go be the captain, 99. Go tear the league apart and get us 28. That's my resolution for Aaron Judge.
Yeah, there's that fuckwad in Mets Twitter that was like, oh, what's the ball drop? Aaron Judge. Go focus on your own team.
It was terrible.
You ugly little freaking cousin that you are. Anyway, so what a fucking disgrace, honestly. These Met fans, they can't just talk about their own team. They can't just focus on their own team. They have to just keep clowning the Yankees if you've got nothing better to do in your day. Honestly, fucking retard. Excuse me. Anyway, let's get back to Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge, he needs to start hitting the clutch. That's absolutely a fact. He needs to start hitting in the clutch. He needs to be better in that regard. I think he needs to be a little less kind of cool, calm, and collected. And I want him to be a little bit more angry. You know, a little bit less, oh, win's a win, a loss a loss. No. I need you to be a bit more angry. I need you to start just playing with a little bit more anger. I agree with Rob, actually. I think just have a little bit of a chip on your shoulder. But, I mean, he's our only on-base guy. He's our only premier power hitter in the lineup. There's a lot of pressure on him. And he's the only guy that hits for average in the lineup, too. So there's a lot of pressure on on Aaron Judge. So he needs to just be him. But play with a little bit more of a chip on your shoulder and shut everybody up. So, yeah, I agree with that. What is your next New Year's resolution?
I'm going to stay with Wells. I'll go to Wells for the next resolution. I think it's going to be just work behind the plate. I continue working with these pitches, keeping the numbers down, the ERAs. He has been phenomenal behind the plate. Behind the dish. I want him to just really I want him to be like a master behind home plate with the pitching staff. And I want him to I think he can be really a legitimate cleanup hitter. I want to see a little more plate discipline.
Cleanup, that's interesting because he was doing that for like 2 months last year and then he fell off a cliff.
He did.
He's another one that needs consistency because we've seen the flashes. When he's hitting, boy, if we get that 2-month Austin Wells for a full season, he might hit 30 with that power he's got. Yeah. So there would be my not hot take. Getting distracted by the chat. My resolution for Austin Wells would be for the Yankees, just play him every day. No platoon. If he needs a day off here and there, fine, but treat him like the old school starting catchers. Play him as much as you possibly can. And this guy's going to hit. He's got 30 home run potential, and we need that. But I loved what I saw from Austin Wells. There was a point where he did stop hitting, but I don't know if it was just protection of the lineup, but we saw that it was like a good month and a half or so where he was just on fire, but it just went away. So hopefully he does that again. And John S., we don't know when the trades are going to pick up again. I've seen the question a few times now. We don't know. If we knew, we would start talking about it. But usually things are quiet around this time of the offseason. It'll pick up soon, but not any time. I don't think it'll be today. I think players and offices are celebrating.
I mean, Austin Wells, for me, if there is anything, I don't really have too much that he needs to work on. If anything, I think, what he already has enough of a job on his plate, being the number one catcher and catching some of the best arms in baseball. So there's a lot of pressure on him. So I mean, if you look at his baseball savant page, his defense was ridiculous. His fielding run value was 96 percentile. His catching was awesome. So actually, I don't really have any New Year's resolutions for Austin Wells. I would say that he needs to square up on the ball better, and he strikes out too much. So I think it's a timing issue with him. He was in the 24 percentile in squared up percentage. So that's my only thing that he needs to kind of work on offensively is a little bit less whiffs and make better contact. because he's got the 20 home run power. But really, as a catcher, my main priority is him catching, and his catching is through the roof genius. So, if anything, I don't really have too much of a New Year's resolution for Austin Wells. What's the next resolution, Rob, for the next guy?
Oh, let's go with Big G.
Okay.
How about you stay healthy, G? Can we get 2021 Giancarlo again? Wasn't that when he played like 130 games? Can we get that? Because if we do, this lineup's gonna feast, and we just please avoid the 2-month IL stint.
Yeah,
he's gonna miss time. We know that, but stay uninjured, like John said. Just don't get hurt, and Big G's gonna probably hit 35 to 40. I love that. I'll defend that man till the day he's no longer a Yankee. I've been doing this for years on Twitter, fighting with people that hate the guy for some odd reason, even though he's our best player in October every single year. They just hate Giancarlo Stanton, but I need him to stay healthy because he's still the best bat speed in the sport. It's unbelievable.
Absolutely.
They all said he's going to regress. No, he ain't regressing. He just can't stay
really
healthy.
not.
Stay healthy, Big G.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't need to echo that. The only thing I will say is thank you, Stanton. Thank you for that October. Because you deserve to be in Monument Park for that October alone. In fact, all your Octobers for the Yankees have been freaking unbelievable. His OPS is like 2,000 in October as a Yankee. The guy's phenomenal. He's in the 100th percentile in bat speed. He's in the 99th percentile in barrel percentage. His average exit velo and his slug are all in the high 90s. The dude is stupidly good. I have no New Year's resolutions for Stanton other than as long as you're healthy, just and be good protection for Aaron Judge. That's all. That's all I ask. And make sure that he's healthy for October because that's the big priority. Make sure that he's healthy enough for October. Once we clinch October, I'm sure we will. Then wrap him up in cotton wool in order for him to be ready for October because he's our only postseason hitter. Only. So, goddamn. Wrap him up in cotton wool. But I don't really have any New Year's resolutions for Stanton other than my Stanton jersey is on its way. It is flying as we speak, and I'm looking forward to it landing in the next day or two. And I'll be repping Big G, my number one guy. What's the next New Year's resolution, Uncle Taz?
Yeah, I want to save Boone for the final thoughts on this. Let's go to Jazz real quick.
All right.
I think Jazz really needs to show the fans what a full season of Jazz is going to look like because we kind of saw two versions of him. I think that his defense at third is really where I want him to play. I think he has the potential with that arm strength. He's going to be one of the most talked about third baseman in baseball. I think he has that in him. And I think we're going to see a lot more of the contact, put the ball in the gap, getting the extra base. I think we're going to see aggression on the bases. I want to see more of that from him, but I think it's going to be more on his defense is going to be his resolution.
For Jazz, just keep being that spark plug. We always talk about we need energy on this team, right? We need to have a little flavor on this team. Well, he's that guy. Like that dude has fun. He just loves playing the game of baseball. And I love that. I wish he had a bit of a better postseason, but it was brought up a little bit earlier in the chat, like the havoc he was causing on the base paths in Game 1 of the World Series. Remember that? Where he was just running all over the place? I need him to bring that energy because this team desperately needs it. And I think a full season of the Jazz is going to be really fun to watch. So just keep bringing that energy, keep being him, let Jazz be Jazz, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun watching him.
So Jazz, looking at the Savant page, his base running was in the 92 percentile. That's insane. His fielding was in the 84th percentile. That's insane. And his range is in the 94th percentile. Insane. Sprint seed, 82 percentile. Those are all his strengths. But oddly, despite having 24 home runs and a decent 256 batting average and a 760 OPS, his batting value was below average at 39th percentile. So really, he needs to start. This is important. He needs to kind of level up that golf swing because it's too pronounced. That golf swing is far too pronounced. I know he's always aiming for the right field decks, but he needs to get a leveler swing because his sweet spot. I can't even say it. His sweet spot percentage is in the 8th percentile. So that can't happen. He ain't getting the sweet spot of the bat. I managed to say it. Congratulations to me on New Year's Day. He needs to start. He needs to start squaring up on the ball because he's got all the power in the world. He's got all the speed in the world. And he's got all the range in the world. And if you are having someone who doesn't really square up on the ball, but yet still hits 24 home runs and still has a 760 OPS, that means that the sky is the limit if we can get a good batting coach and Jazz being a little bit more focused and talk a little bit less. I know that's his personality. Don't want to take away his personality, but sometimes he talks a little bit too much. A little less talking and a little more playing. Get that swing leveled up, and you're looking at someone that could be a 35, 40 home run guy. He could be. He's got that potential, but it needs to be really honed in on. We need better coaching, a lot less laid back shit. We need a little bit more intense coaching on this guy, and I think you can get the most out of him. He has the most potential of this lineup. If you want to look at this lineup and who has the biggest upside, I would say Jazz Chisholm does. Because you've seen it. You've given 24 home runs. You've got a 760 OPS. That means that there's far more room to grow with this guy. But it really comes down to him and his coaching.
Yeah. I want to address one thing from It's Over. He said Roki Sasaki's agency is very high on Jeremy Hefner's ability to develop pitching. He said to be valuing endorsement opportunities, winning, and pitching development as he decides which team to play for, per Jim Bowden. When did the Mets have better pitching lab than the Yankees? The Mets turned Minaya and Severino into $20+ million pitchers last year. Severino already had it, and Minaya was good, but they were phenomenal for the Mets last year. So they do have a good pitching lab out there. I don't know what they're thinking making Clay Holmes a starter, but aside from that, they do know how to develop pitching. We do it with bullpen arms more than we do with starters.
Yeah.
So the Mets do have a very good lab out there with their pitching, but I still think he's a West Coast guy. But if he goes to New York, that means that one of the two teams, Yankees or Mets, really sold him on being like the star of a rotation. Like he would probably be the ace of the Mets staff, maybe second to Senga, but for us, like he'd probably be third. I don't know with Cole and Fried here, but they'd have to do a lot of selling on him to go to the East Coast because the Dodgers and Padres and even San Francisco, Seattle, like they have really good pitching out there, and the Dodgers are just the front runners for everything. I just wanted to address that from It's Over because the Mets do develop pitching.
We're developed Teal. We can do it.
But
Yep.
Like Schmidt has been Montgomery, but like one of the biggest criticisms is that starting pitching from our system is usually traded away, but we develop bullpen arms like dumpster dives, and we turn them into with solid arms. That's what we do better than anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, if there really was a real quick, Donald, I want to get back to the resolutions and what you have to say, but when it comes to this whole pitching factory, I'm sorry, but I think the Astros have that locked in. Brad Strom with the Astros, look what he's done with all those pitchers throughout that run of theirs. It didn't matter who they were getting, they were dominating. So I got to say, if there really was a pitching factory, it resides in Houston. That pitching staff is insanely good.
Fantastic. Tampa Bay pretty good too.
Tampa's another one. Like I don't know why they feel like the Mets need
Atlanta.
to own that market.
Atlanta's unbelievable. Oh, give me Atlanta's pitching staff. Holy
Milwaukee.
crap!
Even Cleveland a few years ago, they were you know. So I'm sorry, it's it's not owned by one team. Stop.
True. Right. Okay. The next New Year's resolution that you have.
We've gone through Volpe, Judge, Wells, Jazz, Stanton. Who are we missing? Oh, Cody Bellinger. Here's my resolution. Stay away from the women in New York. They're gonna be all over you. No, realistically though, just
I'm
be
done.
Cody. No, I love Cody Bellinger, but I think he's in for a big year. I just need him to be good protection, whether it's in front of or behind Aaron Judge. We need him to be that big lefty bat, whether they put him 2 or 3. He needs to provide a lot of at least some of the pop that we're losing with Soto. That's why they brought him in. I think he needs to. If he's a lot like his 2023 self, the steal already to me was a trade. The trade already was a steal. I think it'll be an even bigger steal if he's more like 2023 Bellinger.
Tuts.
Yeah, no, I think Bellinger just needs to stay in your lane and play your game. Don't try to overextend yourself to impress us. We're already impressed with your resume. So just stay in your lane, play your game. Don't try to don't try to reinvent yourself with this new team, with the excitement of the fan base, and just let him be himself.
Yeah, I think my resolution for him is going to be very similar to my resolution for Goldschmidt. Take advantage of Yankee Stadium 1 and rewind the clock to 2023. If you can possibly do what you both did in 2023, then we're going to be okay. If you guys both perform like you did in 2024, we're cooked. Let's be honest, we're completely cooked.
Yeah.
So
I agree with that. I mean,
Yep.
I think that actually fits perfect for both of those players, Goldschmidt and Bellinger. Just turn back the clock a year and a half.
Although, to be fair, Goldschmidt actually, second half of last year, had like an OPS of like 800. He was really good.
Yeah.
But his first half of the year was a flaming disaster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But, if you guys check out Joel Sherman, his podcast, and I think we should talk about the stuff that he broke down in a future podcast. But if you guys haven't already done so, his interview on the New York Post was freaking phenomenal. That guy is a credit. We don't really talk much about the beat writers in New York that much, but I think he is a credit to his profession. He is absolutely a brilliant baseball mind, Joel Sherman. So he broke the Yankees down perfectly. He said that he interviewed everybody that was involved in the National League Central, and they all said that Goldschmidt still has enough in the tank to give you a good year, and he thinks that it's going to play well at Yankee Stadium. So if you guys are looking for some hope, there's some hope right there that basically the National League all view Goldschmidt as still a above-average hitter that's going to give you above-average defense. So, I mean, it's not terrible for $12.5 million. It's not the route I would have gone, even though I'm a big Goldschmidt fan. It's not the route I would have gone, but I can see why the Yankees took that route. Let's just hope it works out.
And I think we got to get to the final resolution, the one that we've all been waiting to tear this guy apart and change his whole life. And let's get to Aaron Boone. I think what he needs to do is, grow a pair of balls. And like we said, put the book away. Don't look at the analytics. And we've seen when he's managed by himself how good he can manage. It's when he lets everybody get in his head, that's when everything goes completely off the rails. So be your own manager. Trust your gut. Don't try to be everybody's best friend. If they need a talking to, talk to them. But don't, all this cupcake shit is a no-go for me. I'm tired of it. And while Donald composes himself, Rob, what is your resolution for Boone?
Show us that your postseason wasn't just like a fluke. Because I think that his postseason was very well managed, all things considered. There was a few mistakes here and there, but I think that was probably the best I've seen Aaron Boone manage since he got here. Was the 2024 postseason, and that's saying something because he's been here for a freaking long time. But do that for a full 162 in October again, and I think we got a good shot. A lot of people say we'll never win with Aaron Boone. I'm probably in that boat, but I may be a few toes out of that boat after that postseason. I think he showed that he can manage us to a championship, but he wasn't the one that was out there making those defensive lapses, but he's the one that kind of allows the relaxed attitude. So, yeah, grow a pair would be something you can my dad said the same thing. I can hear his voice saying, grow a pair of balls, but we need him to grow. We need him to do what he did in the postseason last year, and I think he'll be a much better manager. But they got to let him do it. I said that 2 years ago. Remember, kept saying it. Let him manage the game. Stop letting the computers manage it for him, and I think he'll be a much better manager. This is probably his last chance because he's got that option for next year. So go out on his shield. Who just said that? Brad. Go out on your shield, Boone. This is your chance to shut a lot of people up, us included. Yep. Everyone in this chat included, especially, was it John? He reserves the right to remain silent. You prove a lot of people wrong. I'm rooting for you. Trust me, I'm rooting for Aaron Boone. I want to be wrong about this. I don't know if he can manage us to a championship. He got very close last year. I want to be wrong. I want him to do it. And we'll probably bring him back, and we'll all shut up about Aaron Boone. But this is his chance right here to shut a lot of people up and show that he is the guy the Yankees say he is.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been consistent that I don't think Aaron Boone is the guy, but I've wavered a little bit because I actually think he managed the postseason, not the World Series per se, but the postseason very, very well, and that was the first good postseason he's actually managed since coming here. I have a feeling that he took the gloves off at some point in the second half of the year because we went in this awful slump through July and August, and we were playing like shit, right? And we were taking it easy, and then he benched Gleyber Torres, and he didn't back away from it. And guess what? Gleyber Torres played out of his mind after that, right? And the team started to play better. And then before you know it, we actually started getting pretty hot in September, and we made a World Series run in October. Now, did we play the greatest in October? No, we didn't. And a lot of that still comes down to Aaron Boone because he is far too lax with the fundamentals. He's far too lax with details. But it's not just him. That's the front office. That's the analytics. This is the kind of stuff that the analytics and the front office should be prioritizing is the fine details. Because guess what? That's how the Dodgers won the World Series. The fine details. They scouted the Yankees perfectly, right? So it's less about Aaron Boone and it's more about the general structure of the Yankees front office. They need to be better with the fine details because I was beating this drum all year long, and not enough people were paying attention, including the Yankees, because I was seeing all these fundamental problems, and the Yankees were ignoring it. So the rest of the league paid attention to it, and they beat the shit out of the Yankees. The Dodgers did, and the National League teams did in general. The Mets did, So we need to start paying attention to the fine details. Aaron Boone's part of that. So when he showed a little bit of toughness with Gleyber Torres, that gave me a little bit of hope that this man could possibly be the manager that we need. Obviously, I'm old school. I don't really like teams over-celebrating for things that haven't been achieved yet. So when I heard that the Yankees did a big Congo line and shit like that, celebrating like just winning playoff games and things like that, I don't really like that shit. But I know that's more of a modern day thing, so I'll just try and not be the old man on the lawn with that. But I think that he needs to be tougher with players, and he needs to be a little bit more focused on the fine details. And don't poo-poo away shit that actually matters, because he did poo-poo away to John Boy Media, who were asking him very good questions through the year, and he was kind of laughing them off. Don't be quite so combative, because we were actually all trying to help. You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of shit that we need to focus on. But by and large, he managed a very good year. I still give him a B plus for the way he managed last year. I think he managed very, very well. It's his best managed year, in my opinion. We just need to focus on the fine details. That is my New Year's resolution for Aaron Boone. Focus on the fine details. And if you do, then this team can go all the way to the World Series again.
Tats, you're muted.
I think this team is definitely in line to return to the World Series. It's not like the American League has built this juggernaut of these teams that can overrun and overtake the Yankees. It's still, they are the pennant winners from the previous year. It's their title now to lose. And if they stick to the fundamentals of the game with the players that the front office has brought in, I think this team is set up really well to just run over anybody that gets in their way. I think they do have that potential, and it's going to come down to trust from the management, smart coaching on the bases. So that means Rojas has got to go. I mean, holy shit. And the players playing their brand of baseball. If you are not a power hitter, don't try to hit a home run. If you're a power hitter, don't bunt it down the third base line. Like, stay in your zone. And I think that this team is going to be. I think we can have pretty much a repeat of last year. We're going to be that team that really nobody wants to face.
I like that.
It might not be as fun a year because we don't have the Aaron Judge and Soto stuff, because that was a lot of fun. It might not be as fun and interesting, but we might be just as good, because we're focusing on other things like pitching and fielding, getting guys in the right position. That is going to move the needle a little bit for us. We actually have a closer now. So these kind of things will start moving the needle. But we're still short of a third baseman, because our infield defense was terrible last year and has barely been touched. So that needs to be. I mean, Goldschmidt is a little bit of an improvement than Rizzo, but the rest of it looks like the same. So I would still add another quality third baseman / second baseman, whatever they want to do with Jazz. But they need one more infielder, and I'm happy. If we don't, then I'll be pissed. So there you go. We don't want to see pissed off Donald in 2025.
No. And then I also saw, real quick, a bunch of compilations from Met podcasts of all different clips of Yankee fans, losing their mind, burning jerseys. And Donald, unfortunately, they were not smart enough to follow us, because you were not on any of those compilations.
That's good. That's probably a good thing.
It just shows that, as we've been saying for years, the Mets fans love to hate the Yankees more than they like their own team. So here's my 2025 resolution to Mets fans. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, go fuck yourself.
And on that note, just remember, we appreciate everybody spending their morning with us. Just remember to hit that like button, hit that sub button, share this out with your friends, your family, the strangers on the corner. Just remember, this is the Pinstripe Chronicles, where fans become family. So wear those pinstripes of pride and play hard.
Boom.